Big week. Not tomorrow. Not next week. Right now. Tomorrow's our 100th episode, but today we got work to do. PGA Tour heads to the John Deere Classic for what could be the beginning of the end for one of golf's most iconic small market events. Major League Baseball's in full chaos mode. The analytics debate just exploded all over social media. The Mets are cutting checks to players who haven't worn a uniform in more than a decade. Dodgers doing Dodger things, and somehow we don't even have time to get to the NBA free agency. NFL headlines today. That's getting pushed to tomorrow because there's simply too much shit happening. One day before episode 100. What do you say we get to work? Welcome in. It's Off the Hook. Sports talk that pays off. I'm Tommy Trends, hanging here with my boys Mookie and Nash. We got a loaded show for you today. We're breaking down the John Deere Classic from every single angle, including course changes, weather, key stats, outright winners, sleepers. Whether this could be one of the final years and we see the PGA Tour in Silvis. And then we're going to go across the diamond. Jorge Posada analytics comment lit up our Twitter page. Completely on fire yesterday. We're diving straight into that debate. We'll hit Bobby Bonilla Day, biggest MLB storylines as we kick off the month of July. Division races, trade deadline chatter. And get you some Tommy Trends for the day. Our favorite plays, leans across the baseball board. And then we'll close things out with the Pikkit play of the day because, as you know, we are powered by Pikkit here. Listen, if you're not using Pikkit, you're already behind the 8-ball betting blind. Download the Pikkit app. Track your crew, your bets, the line movements, all at your fingertips all in one place with Pikkit. And tomorrow is a huge day. Episode 100, we'll have a special show tomorrow afternoon. We'll dive in NBA, NFL stories that we couldn't get to today. And then we'll look back at how far this thing has come. Now, first, we got a show to do. But what do you say we get right after it? And we're going to start with Tee to Green, primarily a golf show and MLB. But we'll start, get you caught up in the world of golf and what has happened there. We'll give you a recap with the Travelers Championship. And that finally wrapped up Monday morning. You had a bonus day of golf on Monday due to weather pushing the playoff to Monday morning. And you see there on the screen, Viktor Hovland did prevail over Scotty Scheffler in a playoff as they grinded it out on 18 on Monday morning. And, it was boxers duel. Hovland outduels Scheffler in the playoff. And we look to the John Deere Classic. And but 21 under, got it done. They both tied at 21 under. And about 3,000 fans came back Monday morning. So that says a lot about the event. I mean, you didn't know how long this thing could actually go. I mean, they could just keep going back and forth and keep replaying 18. But it only took them one shot at it. But about 3,000 people did show up. Great hospitality, great crowds there at TPC River Highlands in Cromwell, Connecticut. It's not exactly a giant media market, just outside of Hartford there, but big tournament feels every year with the Travelers. One of the oldest events on the tour schedule. And how this thing started around 9 o'clock, maybe a little after 9 Monday morning. Scotty, they both striped their drives, right? And then Scotty hits his approach shot to about 4 feet. Crowd goes nuts. Hovland answers and hits his inside 7 feet. And Hovland makes it. Scotty misses. That's your ball game. And Viktor Hovland prevails and is the 2026 Travelers champion there at TPC River Highlands. And, pressure does weird things, even to Scotty Scheffler. Hovland did get his 8th tour win, first since 2025 at the Valspar. But maybe more importantly, it feels like a real confidence win for Viktor Hovland. This guy, he's been searching. He's gone through... Got rid of his coach, got another swing coach, back. I think he's back now with his original swing coach. Lost his swing, didn't have any trust in it, lost his confidence. Was grinding on the range, just trying to find anything, really. And then last week, U.S. Open misses a cut, still goes back out there Saturday, beating, hitting balls on the range by himself. And Scotty even talked about that. He said Hovland is just one of those guys where if he's not having success, it's not because he isn't working. I mean, this guy grinds. I think, he won in 2023, won the Tour Championship, and then it kind of just fell apart, and he's trying to basically find his game again when he really didn't have to find it. I mean, it was there. I guess winning does things. You try to tinker with things, and I get it. I mean, these guys all tinker with stuff, and I mean, different swing coaches, clubs, what have you. It's no different than any other sport. But this really feels, and you look at Hovland throughout this season, it seems like we're getting the Victor Hovland of old, and this was big for him. I think he was now 5 for 5 in playoffs. Hovland looks like you might be getting that Victor Hovland of old. And then you had the Norwegian fans there doing the Victor Viking row. So that was a pretty cool scene. You had the USA chants, the Norwegian chants, back and forth. It was a lot of energy for a Monday morning for people to show up there. So, and then you even had Russell Henley. He showed up full tournament gear after finishing tied for 12. I mean, that's a peak tour pro there with Russell Henley showing up. Guy made almost $500,000, had really no reason to be there, and still looked like he was about ready to go warm up on the range. But bottom line is Hovland wins. TPC River Highlands wins the Travelers Championship. Scotty, another runner-up. And Travelers once again proves why it is one of the best non-major events on tour. And we talked about the storyline with Hovland. I think that's really the bigger story here. And look, like Scheffler's the number one golfer in the world. Even though he didn't get the win, it's still Scotty Scheffler, right? And for Hovland not to buckle under that pressure, playing Saturday with him, Sunday, then has to, has 24 hours or less maybe to think about a playoff with Scheffler. And for Scheffler to miss that play, you can even see Hovland's reaction. Scheffler down the stretch on Sunday, had some errant tee shots and then recovered, and his short putts were money on Sunday, which really kept him in it, forced the playoff. And then for Scheffler to miss with a 4-foot putt, you could just see Hovland, his reaction. It was almost like he couldn't believe that Scheffler missed it and that he won. And that's just the kind of guy Hovland was. He wasn't over emotional. I believe it was the first time his mom was there watching him play or when he won. So it was pretty cool to see that. But Hovland is one of the more likable guys on tour. But his reaction pretty much said it all. He's just stunned that Scheffler missed it. I think he was expecting they're just going to go back and tee it up again and play the hole over. But, like I said, he's spent the past few years searching for his game since he won in 2023 at the Tour Championship. He's a former FedEx Cup champion, former Ryder Cup star. He is one of the most talented ball strikers on tour. And he's openly talked about losing his confidence in his swing, loss of trust in his game completely. Even after, like I said, after he missed the cut at the U.S. Open, he hung around and hit balls on the range. So for him to come back and beat Scheffler in a playoff, that's a huge win for him to take away from this. No matter what happens the rest of the season. That's just got to shift the momentum forward for Hovland. And look, let's be clear with Scheffler. Like, he didn't choke. He missed a 4-footer, right? Sunday, his putts kept him in it. Had some, was it 17 or 18? His chip rolled completely past the hole off the green. So, and then his putting really kept him there to force the playoff. So, but, it happens. It happens to the best of them. It's just that's the psychology of it. Hovland put it first, made his birdie, and then suddenly Scotty's putt wasn't the putt to win. It just became a putt he had to make just to survive, and that's really the difference of pressure. So I wouldn't say Scheffler choked. It's just one of those things. It's bound to happen to one of them, right? Someone's going to lose. But congratulations, Victor Hovland. Hopefully we see a lot more from him. I think it looks like he's got his old form back, and I think this is a real boost of confidence for Hovland here. One of the more likable, more popular guys on tour. Definitely one of the hardest workers on tour. No doubt about that. And he is an 8-time winner. So the question becomes now, can he carry this momentum as we go into the Open and go across the pond there? But again, Victor Hovland, the winner in the playoff. Little bonus golf action there Monday morning, if anyone's able to see it, or if you were working and, had the screen up at work. But, I thought, honestly, it was going to go back and forth, and it would take a little bit. But didn't take long. But fans definitely showed up and showed out for that one. But now we're on to a new week. New destination. We go from a signature event with Scotty and Hovland to the John Deere Classic, this is a completely different type of betting puzzle here for the TPC Deere Run in Silvis, Illinois. And look, before we even get to into the John Deere Classic and going through outrights, first round leaders, course profile, all that. The John Deere Classic has been one of the PGA Tour's longest running sponsors and partners. Only AT&T has been associated with the tour longer amongst the current sponsors. Now, new PGA Tour CEO Brian Rolap discussing future changes. There's rumors that continue to swirl that the tour would prefer moving this event closer to Chicago rather than Silvis, Illinois. Why? I have no idea. Chicago is a fucking dump. The argument is obvious. Look, Chicago, bigger media exposure, right? More corporate opportunities. Basically, it's money, right? But look, the supporters of the John Deere Classic, they point to events like the Travelers. Not a big media market, but it has a big tournament feel, and fans show up and show out for these tournaments, right? So, again, even Scheffler specifically called the Travelers the gold standard for how tournaments should be run. So that says a lot, right? So it raises a question here. If players consistently enjoy these events like the John Deere, like the Travelers, should they really be forcing these tournaments into major metropolitan markets? Why? If it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? I'm okay with if you want to change courses and rotate, and they want to add some of these courses on the schedule with the changes coming down the road with the PGA Tour in 2028. But again, this tournament, I don't know. You want to add another course in Chicago on the schedule for some other tournament, go ahead. But I feel like you can't move this, especially the players talk highly of it and they respect the tournament. But again, it's all money, right? So it's always been embraced different with this tournament. Whether you have guys sitting out, guy like Fowler. This is the first time Fowler's played in years this tournament, and he said it. I heard him talking earlier on the Golf Channel. They were interviewing him, and he said it just kind of felt like, it wasn't a 2-week break. He only had a week off, and then could come back and play this. So, you have guys that are playing this that haven't played for a while. Again, he's another one that talks highly of this course, of this tournament. And future stars get their opportunities here because you have some, guys like Scheffler and these other guys sitting out. These guys can take the stage and it's their time to shine. And first-time winners emerge here. So it's like a launching pad for some of these guys. And look, if the PGA Tour is truly changing over the next few years, a lot of people wonder whether this could be one of the final times we see the John Deere Classic as we know it at this course. So, tournament going back to 1971, and originally was called the Quad Cities Open and became an official PGA Tour event in 1972. John Deere became a sponsor in 1999. The TPC Deere Run became the host venue in 2000. And some of the past winners: Jordan Spieth, Bryson DeChambeau, Michael Kim, Davis Thompson, Sepp Straka, Brian Campbell. I mean, there's countless breakthrough moments if you go back across the history of this tournament. 25 first-time PGA Tour winners have emerged from this tournament. Like I said, it's a launching pad for these guys. One of the highest totals of any event on tour. About 144 players are going to tee it up. Cut is top 65 and ties after 36 holes. 8.8 million is the purse. The winner gets 1.58, just under 1.6 million, and also 500 FedEx Cup points at stake. And you're getting 33 of the top 100 players playing this. It's not elite by major championship standards. But this year, it's deeper than recent years, recent fields here at the John Deere Classic. So this should be a good one this weekend before the guys head over across the pond for the Open coming up in a couple weeks. So we'll take a look here. Course profile, it's a par 71, a little over 7,300 yards, and 38 yards longer than last year. It's a Parkland-style layout for this course. Now, what's interesting, and I didn't know this till I started digging a little deep in the files here, it's a former Arabian horse farm that overlooks the Rock River. I didn't know it was a horse farm, but it kind of feels right. We're talking about America's 250th birthday, big week this week for US of A, and this is big. John Deere. I mean, what a more iconic sponsor name that says America, like John Deere. So you get two big events: 250th birthday of the USA, and you get John Deere Classic this week. So what a better way to spend your holiday tournament, beating the books, winning some money, cashing some tickets with the John Deere Classic, and we'll certainly try to help you out with that. So looking here at some of the layouts and features of the course, bent grass fairways and greens, and they got that thick Kentucky bluegrass fescue rough. Now, this rough is pretty deep, roughly 4 inches, and that's the course's primary defense here. Wide fairways, more than 36 yards, so you got to be accurate with your positioning. It's not just sheer power. Again, even though, it's a little bit longer of a course over the past few weeks, some of these venues the guys have played, but it's not a bomb and gouge course because of fairways averaging more than 36 yards. So you got to be accurate on how you position yourself off the tee. Generous receptive layout made it one of the lowest scoring courses on tour. Now, every winner over the last 16 years has finished 18 under par or better. The signature hole of this course is the par 3 16th, which is perched off a cliff overlooking the Rock River. It's a pretty cool look for that hole. Approach play here is obviously going to be another factor we're going to look at as we dive a little deeper in a couple minutes. So approach play, that is really king here. 42% of the shots are going to come from inside 150 yards. So if you miss the fairway, that roughly doubles the proximity to the hole. And we said with that thick rough, guys could be in some trouble if they're not on the fairway. And obviously putting, right? And then that's one of the less predictable stats. But putting is going to matter here, right? Soft, true bent grass greens, and a low 3-putt rate of 2.53%. And recent champions gaining roughly 7 strokes putting for the week here at the John Deere Classic. Now, off-tee accuracy outweighs raw distance. We said that. The greens in regulation dropped from 80% out of the fairway to just 55% from the rough. It's a huge drop, right? So that's why we said, again, it's not just about bombing it off the tee. And then scrambling, that proves even tougher than the course's easy scoring and reputation would suggest when you look at it. So, these tight collection areas, the runoffs here, it makes your around the green play more delicate than what it looks. Kind of similar to last week, around the greens was going to be critical. So again, some of the top stats that you want to watch, and we'll get into this. You want to watch the birdie or better percentage, strokes gained approach, strokes gained putting, and those bent grass, and the proximity from 75 to 150 yards. That's going to be the money spot there for your approach play and the proximity to the green. Now, there are some new course changes this year. We said it does play a little bit longer. The biggest story is hole 4. Now, there was a famous Hewitt tree that was removed because the tree was decaying and dying. Tree was basically one of the signature visuals of TPC Deere Run. So what they did, that hole was lengthened about 38 to 40 yards, which again makes up for that little bit longer distance here overall of yardage, but about 38, 40 yards longer on this hole. A new championship tee was added in. 3 fairway bunkers added, and the fairway was narrowed on hole 4. So now the hole plays approximately 492 yards. Players need around 340-ish to carry to challenge those bunkers. So this is likely going to turn one of the easier holes and one of the tougher holes on course. So it should be interesting to see how hole 4 plays, especially with some weather. We'll get into that. We'll get you traffic and weather on the 2s here off the hook. We don't leave any stone unturned, but some of how the course is going to defend itself throughout the next 4 days here. Now, it is going to be a birdie fest. Scoring, you're going to see scores, like I said, 18 under par or better. But it's not a defenseless course. 76 bunkers overall, 3 holes with water in play, 4-inch Kentucky bent grass, fescue rough that we talked about. The bent grass greens averaging 5,500 square feet. Stimp meter rolling fast as fuck, 12 to 12.5 feet, and average fairway width, like we said, 36 yards there. So the course is you're gonna get rewarded here with precision over just bombing it and just sheer power, right? And we said we'll get you traffic and weather on the 2s, more like on the 9s. But so your weather, low 90s, high humidity, which seems to be the common theme across most of the U.S. this week. We're in a fucking cooker. And 8 to 12 mile an hour winds out of the southwest. So in June, they had nearly 8 inches of rainfall here on the course. You're going to have rain possible tomorrow, Friday, Sunday. So Saturday, moving day, is going to be big for guys to make up some ground with the weather. With that above, 8 inches of rain in the month of June, way above the yearly average rainfall accumulation here. So as a result, what are you going to get? The course conditions are going to be soft, receptive greens, a longer ball flight with the warm, humid, thick fucking air that we get here in the Midwest and Northeast. So it is going to be an aggressive scoring environment here this weekend, and you could have possible weather delays again. Maybe we see another Monday finish, depending on what happens with weather. But Saturday moving day, if we're looking at the weather forecast, it looks to be the best day out of them all, which is good because it's moving day, so it should help some guys. As far as scoring, we said scoring is going to be low. Vegas setting the winning score around 22 under par. The tournament average winning score over the last decade is 22 under. Average cut line, 3 under. Every winner, like we said, our last 16 years, 18 under or better here at the John Deere Classic, and 11 of the last 15 winners were 20 under or better. 2024 winner Davis Thompson, 28 under. Fucking torched it. This is one of the easiest scoring events on tour. You can't survive here. You got to attack it. And, it's like we said last week, when you look at guys coming from Shinnecock and the U.S. Open, where they were like thankful for a par, right? And then last week at the Travelers, you're dead with a par, right? So that's the same theme here this week from TPC Deere Run. So how do you win here, right? Formula is surprisingly simple. You hit the fairways, you hit your wedges close, and you make putts. That's it. And rinse, wash, and repeat, right? So past winners gained approximately 7 strokes putting to reach that 22 under or better number And players need roughly 25 to 28 birdies, eagles across the 4 rounds. Again, it's going to be one of the easier scoring tournaments on tour. So what that means is you're going to need to create approximately 36 legitimate birdie opportunities inside 20 feet. If you got to get, if you need roughly 25 to 28 birdies, eagles across 4 rounds, you got to at least create 36 legit opportunities inside that 25 feet mark. It's a pure scoring contest this weekend. Not saying it's not going to be close. It's just we're going to see some low scores. So let's look at, we talked about some of the key stats and what it's going to take to get it done here. So the first one we're going to take a look at here, strokes gained approach. We said it. Your approach play is king here this weekend. 42% of all approach shots come with inside 150 yards. And that's where we said that 75 to 150 mark, that proximity to green on your approach play, that's going to matter. And this is the wedge play because players are going to constantly face these wedge opportunities all weekend long. And if you want to, all right, so who's the best strokes gained approach in the field? Daniel Berger, Austin Smotherman, Tom Kim, Johnny Kiefer, Jackson Suber, who we mentioned last week, who put himself in position last week. Nice finish for the young fella there, Jackson Suber. Tom Kim ranks 3rd in the entire field. And if anyone has looked and done any research as far as models, numbers, projections, Tom Kim, his name is coming up a lot. He is one of our leans, obviously. And again, his game fits this course profile. So, which is why a lot of people are high on Tom Kim, even as a first round leader. And we'll get you some of that info coming up when we go through our picks, leans. And again, all of our picks will be posted on our X Twitter page, whatever the fuck you're calling it. It'll be posted before tee times tomorrow at OTH Sports Pod. And also you can track us on Pikkit. Follow along on Pikkit. Download the Pikkit app and follow us there. All our picks are verified, transparent there. But we will get it posted. If you want to tell us, we'll have those posted. We'll give you some trends and leans tonight before we get out of here. But then the official card will be posted before tee times tomorrow. The second stat that we're going to dive into here, birdie or better percentage. We mentioned it. We were going over the profile a few minutes ago. Birdies are going to matter here, right? We said you need 36 legit shots if you want to make a run at this thing throughout 4 rounds. So top birdie makers on tour, Eric Cole, Jacob Bridgman, Kashmir Keith Mitchell up there, Sudarshan Selamaraju, and Pearson Cootie. Some other notable names, Chris Goddard, Doug Gam, Ryo Hisatsuni, Ricky Fowler. Look, birdie makers thrive here at TPC Deere Run. Next stat is drive percentage, right? We said accuracy matters. It's not necessarily power and distance. It's your accuracy. Your greens in regulation drops dramatically from the rough. We said that, right? So from the fairway, greens in regulation around 80%. If you're hitting from the rough, your greens in regulation around 55%. It's a huge drop off. This is where accuracy matters. It's not the power. It's not the distance. It's the accuracy. Right. So if you look at some of the best drivers, be Lucas Glover. Is he 46 years old? Lucas Glover. I saw him on the Golf Channel earlier. Good on him. Joel Damon, Ryo Hisatsuni, Austin Smotherman, Johnny Kiefer, and Tom Kim. Tom Kim again, near the top. So again, that's why he's lighting up a lot of people's leans, picks, what have you. And then we would look at the par 4 scoring here. There are 11 par 4s at TPC Deere Run. This is the most important scoring category. And then they ask, who are your leaders? Well, Jacob Bridgman, Eric Cole, Stephen Fisk, Doug Gim, Tom Kim. This seems like, Tom Kim. Everybody's on Tom Kim. I'm not saying he's going to make our card. We're just laying out the numbers and the facts, but it's like one of those where the public's all over somebody and they shit the bed. So maybe you want to take a flyer on Tom Kim. not to make the cut. I don't know. But again, his profile fits this course, fits this tournament, which is why a lot of people are high on Tom Kim. So again, the par 4 scoring, that's going to matter. And we talked about the proximity to green, 75, maybe 100 yards to 150 yards. That's a money spot this weekend. Look, this is wedge central, this weekend. Who are the best in the field? Tom Hoagie, Blades Brown. We'll get to him coming up. Jackson Suber, Ben Coles, Doug Gim, Tom Kim. Closer you hit your wedges, the more birdies you create here. It's that simple. If it was only that simple, I wouldn't be like a 20 handicap here or higher, maybe. Depending on how many foot wedges and hand wedges I give myself. But another stat to look at, par 5 scoring. All 3 par 5s are reachable. So, look, you got to make up ground here on these par 5s. I mean, you got to eat on these par 5s. It should be a feast here if you want to have any shot at winning this thing. Here are your top performers on par 5 scoring averages on tour. Ryo Hisatsuni, Jacob Bridgman, Tony Finau, Kashmir Keith Mitchell, Chris Gotterup. So, look, these guys don't play par 5s under par. They're going home early. Pack your bag. See you later. And then we talked about putting. Now, again, putting typically the least predictable stat, right? But again, it is going to matter. And, it's unpredictable, but you got to make your putts. Bent grass greens, low 3-putt rates here. Average putters suddenly become elite putters here. Some examples. Brian Campbell entered last year putting so bad. So bad. I mean, and yet he still won. Bryson, when he won, he entered the tournament putting really bad. Really bad. Still won. Lucas Glover, same thing. Entered putting poorly and won. So the course will allow an average putter for you to spike your score here and do well, right? So the course can allow these average putters to spike. That's why predicting putting is difficult. But again, you can't not overlook it. It's just, look, if you're putting poor and you can't turn it around here, see you later. Pack your bags, and we'll see you next week, maybe, if you qualify. And then if you want to look at some of the courses that are comparable to TPC Deere Run, TPC River Highlands, of course, just played that last week. Sedgefield, TPC Scottsdale, Silverado, Detroit Golf Club, TPC Summerlin, TPC Craig Ranch, TPC Twin Cities. Those are some of the notable courses that kind of compare to TPC Deere Run this week. And again, if the guy's been successful on those layouts, their game typically translates well here. So we'll see if that's the case this weekend. Before we get you to the picks, leans, what have you, we do have some other golf news we want to touch on here before we get to the picks, leans here on Tee to Green. The first one, now, I've always been a big Jordan Spieth fan. I always liked his game. I love the chatter between him and Greller. It's just, and I respect him for his ups and downs. He's stuck with his crew, right? Stuck with his swing coach, stuck with his caddy, and he grinds too. He's out there working hard. And I heard him in his press conference earlier. He feels like he's onward and upward to the right. He's trending upward here with his game. Again, the thing with Spieth is his putting. Now, he had a couple different putters in his bag last week. He was looking at some lab putters. Decided to go back to the blade putter. Is he going to change it this week? Don't know. But again, his putting is what's hurt him this year on tour. But it's not his game that we're going to talk about. It's some of the comments he made about betting. And since we are a betting program here, we are going to touch on this. And this is probably one of the dumbest things that Jordan Spieth has said. Now, I'm not saying he's wrong by what his comment, and we're going to play the clip from Jordan here. But, it just doesn't look when the line, when you have books sponsoring an event and I think when you pull up the PGA Tour app, it says lines provided by FanDuel or DraftKings, whatever they're using. And then throughout the tournament, they got the odds up. Look, it's all over the fucking place, right? And that's just the reality of sports. It was taboo not too long ago. Me and my friends in high school, college, running books, running numbers illegally, calling a bookie up, right? There's a local tasty cake delivery guy that we get football pool tickets from, running shit out the back. Look, and now it's all mainstream, which is great because shows like us exist now because of it. But then you have, and I understand where he's coming from. We'll play the clip, but his comments go back to the U.S. Open when a few knuckleheads were yelling at Wyndham Clark, which was uncalled for, and rooting against him and booing him and whatnot. And, and I get where he's coming from. If people are betting and, they're yelling at the guy or they don't want him to win because they got somebody else on their ticket to win. But, look, he's not completely wrong. We see this happen in every sport, right? We see it in baseball, we see it in football, basketball, and we're seeing it in golf. So I get what he's saying. All right, let's let Jordan Spieth, and then we'll come back and give our take here. But this is Jordan Spieth from his press conference on what he thinks of betting in golf.
I mean, I think the one thing that I'll point out is I do think that betting in golf is something that's going to have to be tackled here soon, because I don't know how much of, say, the Wyndham scenario was the fact that it was enticing to bet the field versus Wyndham on Sunday in a legalized betting state, and you could have had people out there that are essentially, have $100 to $10,000 depending on who it is on the field versus somebody else. And in golf, it's tricky because you could actually impact the outcome if you wanted to. It may not last very long, but you could impact a shot if you wanted to. I don't know of another sport that you could impact as a fan like you can golf. So I don't know how much that's having to do with it, if it's different than it used to be. I've also played rounds with guys who were not treated well 10, 15 years ago. So I don't think it's a crazy new thing. I do think the Bethpage Ryder Cup was, from what I understand, maybe a lingering effect from that, with an American versus European, Cam Young, Fitzpatrick, the players. Like, I'm trying to single them out for you, but I wasn't a part of either one of them. But I will say that from what I've seen, a lot of times it has to do with betting, and that is in the last 5 years. So we'll see. We'll see what happens with that.
Now, again, he's not completely wrong. And when you think about it, in golf, you're probably the closest you're going to get in any sport. Baseball, depending on where your seats are, you can get kind of close. You can chat up some guys. Football, there's way too much shit going on. Even if you have lower level seats, you're still pretty far off the field. Now, depending on where you're at, guys can hear you. Basketball, that's a whole different subject, depending on if you're sitting courtside or whatnot. There's a lot of chatter in, high school to college to NBA because of the proximity to the players. So that can get, you had the malice at the palace, right? I mean, yeah, so basketball, you can get close. But golf, Unlike Live, where you got music blaring at a Live event, a PGA Tour event, you can hear a fucking pin drop, right? And if you're talking, they're going to tell you to shut the fuck up. Right? Don't talk on my fucking backswing. So you have the opportunity here for a drunken, disgruntled fan to start voicing his displeasure if somebody he's bet on is not doing well, or if the guy's paired with somebody he did bet on and he's the guy that they took is not doing well, and whatever. So he's not wrong, and that's where golf is unique, because the fans are so close, and they're following these guys literally like all day, right? 4, maybe 5 hours, and you can just be chatting them up. You can't really stop it. I mean, it's not necessarily like Happy Gilmore where they're yelling like, guys have gotten thrown out, but over the years, going to golf tournaments, I've noticed the obnoxious, the whole Baba Booey, light the candle, fucking bullshit. It's just dumb. It's just somebody to get clickbait to get on TV or yell something obnoxious. It's dumb. So I get what he's saying. It's just, I don't really know how you stop it, especially when the PGA Tour app and website has odds from FanDuel on there, or the fucking broadcast is talking about it. You have PGA Tour bet podcast and shows. You can even go on ESPN Plus, and there's like a bet stream that you can watch, right? So that's just the reality of it. The problem isn't sports betting. The problem is fucking drunken idiots. If they want to do anything, just cut off alcohol sales. I don't know. That's not the answer either. I don't know how you really control it. The overwhelming majority of people are not doing that. It's 1 or 2 knuckleheads doing it, just trying to get clickbait or get a fucking TikTok, fucking Instagram, fucking whatever, right? So it's basically just a handful of morons that are screaming about their parlays. They become a problem. But the interesting balance here is this. If you look at sports betting as a whole, it's brought massive engagement into golf, right? You got more people watching Thursday and Friday golf than ever before. Now, I always follow golf and will watch it. Now, other people, maybe not so much, but as a casual bettor, and now that you have it right at your fingertips, you don't need to call a bookie or run numbers illegally out of a fucking back door somewhere. It makes it a lot easier, and especially when the broadcast is jamming it down your throat and you get, there's commercials throughout the whole event, advertising, DraftKings, FanDuel, Bet365, whatever it may be. It has brought more viewers to golf tournaments and spectators. So you got people following leaderboards all day, people watching the featured groups, they're betting first round leaders, they're betting matchups, they're betting scores, live betting. Golf is huge for live betting, even as a casual bettor. So while betting has absolutely helped grow the sport and the interest, the players are also starting to feel some of the negative side effects of this because of a few fucking morons who can't shut the fuck up. I don't think it's going away. If anything, I think it gets bigger. But he's not necessarily wrong, because the question does become, how does the PGA Tour manage the fan interaction while you still embrace the betting audience that has become a major part of the growth of golf, right? So I don't know what the answer is. I don't have an answer. I don't think the PGA Tour has an answer either. Again, just because of the proximity to the players, you're following them for 4 or 5 hours. There's just a lot of opportunity to have knuckleheads. Yeah. Now, again, it's not the majority of people, but I've noticed an uptick over the years going to golf tournaments. It's just more chatter. So again, what's the answer? No idea. But the comments, I kind of agree, don't agree. It really, I mean, who really cares? I mean, I get what he's saying, but again, we'll see if anything comes out of this down the road with PGA Tour change. I really just don't know how they change this at all. But yeah, I don't know. That's Jordan Spieth's take on it. The second golf story here. Again, we talked about Phil Mickelson and his scandal, the dirty boy that Phil Mickelson allegedly is, or has been, or still is. So a couple updates here with Phil. Now listen, you can go back and listen to the shows from last week. We talked about it there. You can go read Alan Shipnuck's article on Scratch Golf. It's on Alan Shipnuck's Twitter page. It's all over the fucking place. Type in Phil Mickelson news and the article pops up, right? Golf Digest has it. Everybody's got the article plastered. It's a lengthy article. It's well written. I watched the podcast with Alan Shipnuck, and I mean, the guy did his homework. He vetted the sources. It wasn't just a clickbait piece. He is a well-respected writer amongst sports media in the golf world. And he said he even missed part of the U.S. Open because he was working hard on the article. And of course, in the press room there, he had to either stay at his hotel, wherever, Airbnb, wherever he was staying, because he didn't want people to overhear him talking to his witnesses, sources, whatever you want to call it, because he's trying to piece the story together. He had lawyers look it over before they published it. It wasn't just, let me type this up and hit send, and it's published now. He did do his homework and vetted it. And so, again, we're not going to give you the whole thing. We did talk about it. But again, you can see on the screen there, Mickelson accused of inappropriate contact by a female employee. He's been kicked out of like 4 or 5 different private clubs. The last incident, he was in middle round, and they kicked him off the course. There's rumors that he paid a pro shop employee $500 to take his phone and drive around in a cart because his wife was track his phone. Meanwhile, he's at a house across the street doing whatever he was doing with whoever he was doing it with. Now, again, this isn't, in my opinion, Tiger Woods has done far worse things and could actually kill somebody driving drunk or high or whatever he was doing. But yet he seems to get a pass and Phil gets killed for this. Now, again, your moral compass comes in, and what he was doing was wrong, especially the unwanted stuff and the harassment and those allegations. If it's consensual, that's one thing. It still doesn't make it right. That's where your moral compass comes in. But again, he wasn't driving drunk. He wasn't eating pills like Tiger was, whatever. Again, still not right. But again, there has to be some truth to it. You haven't heard anything from Phil. Other than his attorneys or PR people said he's working on being a better person, blah, blah, blah. The typical PR move. But Alan Shipnuck has 19 sources. And look, if you're getting kicked out of 4 or 5 different exclusive private clubs, you have got to be doing something wrong, because they want these type of people as members so they can say, oh, hey, Phil Mickelson's a member here. Oh, hey, Jordan Spieth is a member here. Hey, Ricky Fowler's a member, right? They want those names to attract other members. So if you're getting kicked out of numerous clubs, it's not a coincidence, right? So again, kind of no response from Phil. So we'll see what comes out of it. Now, his wife did say she's going to stick by him through this, and she's going to be right by his side. She said, this is from a representative of the family. He said that Amy Mickelson is going to stand by him. Extraordinary grace and unwavering love from her. And the statement also said, Phil's priority right now is becoming the husband, father, and man his family deserves while dealing with a private family health matter. So, and again, his wife, I believe she had breast cancer while he was doing some of this shit behind her back. So, look, the biggest takeaway for me out of all this is, I mean, look, he spent 3 decades being one of the most popular players in golf. The fans loved him. Sponsors loved him. The media loved him. And then he had the gambling stories, the Saudi comments, the whole Live debacle, and now these allegations. It's just one thing after another with Phil. And, look, whether they're proved to be all true, false, some of it, look, there's always three sides, his, hers, and the truth, right? It's just amazing how much Phil's public image has changed over the last 5 years. This time when he was probably one of the best, or maybe the best golfer in America. And now it just feels like he's just a few months from another controversy popping up, something else coming out about him. Honestly, I don't think Phil plays golf again. I don't think he plays for Live. I don't know contractually if he's got to pay the money back if he doesn't play. I don't know how that works. Do I think he plays the Masters or a PGA event? No. I think he plays the Live event? No. Could maybe down the road he surface on the Champions Tour for like a money grab thing, for publicity, for viewers, whatever. Maybe. I don't think golf is in the near future for Phil Mickelson. And Alan Shipman did say one of the reasons for him, to write this story is he was hearing things and he started digging deeper. And his whole motive was, look, if this guy's really been doing this stuff for years and sending pictures to his buddy's wife, Ashley Perez, Pat Perez's wife, which is no longer married, but again, sending her unwanted pics of himself, unwanted advances to other females. It's kind of like, look, this guy needs to be stopped, or people need to know what's going on, that he's not the pretty boy image that everybody thinks he is. So again, does Mickelson, in my opinion, don't think Phil's playing golf anytime soon. Don't think we hear from Phil anytime soon. I think it's just going to be his PR people trying to squash this thing, but I really don't see how that's going to happen. And speaking of Live Golf, some desperate times here for Live Golf and what is happening. So again, Live, a lot of financial problems. Probably the biggest business story in golf right now is Live and what their future looks like. Now, this article points to two possibilities of what could possibly happen here. It's a Golf Digest article. Live is against, we talked about this a few weeks back when this broke. They're looking for approximately $300 million in new investment by September 1st just to continue operations into 2027. That's a lot of dough. All right, considering how much money the PIF put into this, into Live already, and they're still bleeding money. I mean, they're just hemorrhaging money like a fucking sieve. So it's really significant here just because of all the financial backing that they've had since inception. And we talked about the PIF and how much money they've injected over $5 billion into Live since inception in 2022. And now they want $300 million just to sustain themselves through 2027. I mean, look, $5 billion and now they want $300 million. I mean, that's just a lot of zeros. And they're basically trying to prove that they can survive without Saudi money. And we're not going to get into the debate of the Saudi money topic because the own U.S. economy has more Saudi money in it than U.S. money. And if you don't believe me, just go look it up and do your own research. That's a topic for another time, not on here. So the two scenarios are laid out in this Golf Digest article. Live raises the money, and if that happens, you get Live 2.0, and players receive equity stakes. Team ownership would become a bigger focus here. Players gain more control over the personal, commercial rights here, and then Live would hope that it's profitable in the next 3 years. Now, that's the optimistic version out of the two. Right? The second scenario is a lot more dramatic than that. So let's say Live doesn't raise the money. They either restructure, file bankruptcy. That becomes a legitimate possibility, according to experts interviewed in this Golf Digest article. Now, here's the crazy part that they talk about. So the biggest asset Live has is also the biggest problem. It's the player contracts. So here are some numbers from this article that they laid out. Rahm reportedly signed for around $300 million. Bryson and Dustin Johnson around $125 million each, and Phil's contract around $200 million. Now, those names, minus Phil, could potentially attract investors. But the massive contracts are also the liabilities that are scaring the investors away. It's like a catch-22 here with Liv, right? So Liv may need these players to maybe accept ownership equity instead of guaranteed money going forward. So let's say you're Bryson or John Rahm. Would you rather have equity or guaranteed cash or ownership in a future Liv franchise? That's the question. The guaranteed cash or some type of a future equity ownership, what have you, in a Liv franchise. I mean, somehow, like, there's a lot of people with a lot of fuck you money in this world. Do I think Liv survives? If I had a gun to my head now, I'd say 85 to 95% chance that Liv survives. Does it survive in the way we see it now or the way it is today? Don't think so. There's going to be some type of restructuring or some type of, look, they got to get out of these contracts somehow. That's what's holding them back. How they do it, I don't know. Those were two scenarios proposed in the Golf Digest article. Not sure what the future looks like, but they got to figure it out soon because they're just hemorrhaging money. And I'm going to date myself here. Reading this article, I was thinking about the 2.5 Men episode where Charlie Sheen goes to his accountant and he talks about money when he's bankrupt, and he takes a paper cup and he's pouring water into it, and he's like, this is like a normal person's spend. And then he puts a whole bunch of fucking holes in it and dumps water, and the water is fucking hemorrhaging out of the cup. That's basically what Liv is in a nutshell here until they figure this out. And again, the thing that attracts people is the thing that holds them back. It's the players and the money, right? Like I said, it's a catch-22 here with Liv and what's holding them back. It's just, I can't believe they went through over $5 billion and now they need another $300 million just to sustain themselves for 2027. Like I said, a lot of wealthy people, a lot of money, a lot of star players, minus Phil. I think it survives somehow. Don't know how. I think, like I said, gun to my head, 85 to 90% chance, in my opinion, that Liv will survive or get Liv 2.0. Nobody seems to have the answer, but I guess September 1st is when we're going to find that out. All right, so enough of that bullshit, and we'll get back to the John Deere Classic, but I wanted to get you caught up on the Phil stuff and the Liv stuff, the Jordan Spieth betting comment. So we'll see what it looks like with Liv and Phil, and we'll keep you abreast of those stories as we get more breaking news here. So let's take a look now at some picks, some leans. Hey, look, we'll just get rid of all this shit, the scandals. It's 4th of July week, 250th birthday of America, going to the Quad Cities. This is one of the most entertaining PGA Tour events. Tournament has launched careers, first-time winners, produced some crazy scoring over the years. Light the fuse. And let's get into the John Deere Classic betting card, leans, picks, and what we see. Now, again, just to recap some of the trends. 6 of the last 12 winners are first-time PGA Tour winners coming from this event. 15 of the last 16 winners played previous John Deere tournaments. 9 of the last 16 winners had previous top 20 finishes here. 14 of the last 16 winners recorded a top 5 finish earlier that season. What does that mean? Experience matters, form matters, and course history matters here. So some of the power rankings of players coming into the John Deere Classic this week. Ben Griffin comes in. Look, Ben Griffin's coming in hot. Multiple top 10s this year, multiple top 20s, 2 wins already. Tied for 5th here previously. His short game is elite, and he is an elite putter. And Tom Kim. You knew we were going to get to Tom Kim. I mean, his name's all over every fucking stat we pretty much just rattled off. So he's probably the best course fit in the field. Now, do you fade the public, so to speak, here and say Tom Kim misses the cut? Maybe. Maybe he wins. Maybe he's your first-round leader. But there is a strong case for Tom Kim, and here's why. 3rd at the U.S. Open, 3rd in strokes gained approach, on the tour this year, 6th in his good drive accuracy. Birdie Fest specialist is Tom Kim. He won at Sedgefield, which is a comparable course to TPC Deere Run. Won at Summerlin, another course that's similar to this layout and this track. Look, he's got the perfect profile to do well here. Now, again, maybe he's not your outright winner, but a top 5, a top 10. And look, when you go back last week to the Travelers, Scheffler to open was like a 4.5 to 1 favorite to win. Now, if you look at some of the names we mentioned last week on TD Green for top 5s, top 10s, you might have been able to get the same number on a guy to finish top 5, top 10. So that's where you can get creative and start looking at too. Maybe pull some of these other players out that we're about to mention. Maybe not an outright winner, but maybe get some good numbers or a similar number for them to finish top 5, top 10, maybe even top 20. Next player, JT Poston, even though he carded a 12 last week, was it hole 13 or 15? I forget, but he had a fucking 12 after he was greenside in 2, and this is a fucking disaster. But I think he did recover. Then on the next hole, he tweeted something out. Like, I think he recovered the next hole he parted. But anyway, JT Poston did win here in 2022. Recently won at Muirfield Village. Tied for 4th, U.S. Open. And we're just going to forget about the 12 he had at the Travelers. So JT Poston, another notable name here. Again, maybe winner, maybe top 5, 10, 20, something like that, top 15, whatever. Cashmere, Keith Mitchell. Look, he's elite, tee to green. 3 top 10s this year, top 5 birdie maker, and he is a strong par 5 scorer. Denny McCarthy. Look, he is a course horse here. Here are results here at the John Deere Classic last 4 years. Tied for 11th, tied for 6th, tied for 6th, tied for 6th. And he's an excellent putter. Enough said. Some other names that might come up, you might want to think about taking a flyer on. Davis Thompson, Chris Goddard, Pearson Cootie, Jackson Coyven, Emiliano Grillo, Keegan Bradley, Blades Brown, Carson Young. And we're going to get to some of these guys, some of the young guns, so to speak. So we'll start with Jackson Coyven. This is his professional debut. He's a former Auburn golf star, tied for 11th here last year, tied for 23rd U.S. Open, ranks 1st in strokes gained total over a recent sample size of players. And many believe that it's not if he wins. It's when he wins for Jackson Coyven. So maybe take a flyer on him. Now, we talked about Blades Brown, and he's on some other people's list as well, and pulled out some stats here with Blades Brown. He's only 19. He is one of the best birdie makers in the field. A few recent top 10s. He does rank near the top of recent form models when you look at it amongst other golfers. He has a really aggressive style, so this course setup does fit him and his style of play. Now, if you look at a couple of past events here, he was tied for 29th at the RBC Canadian Open. Let's see, I'm looking here. So if you look at Brown, 10 top 20 finishes in 2026. So that's spread across the Korn Ferry Tour and the PGA Tour. He's won the Puerto Rico Open, where he finished. So podium finishes, Puerto Rico Open, he finished 3rd. The Club Car Championship at Landings Golf and Athletic Club, he finished 3rd. And the Tulum Championship at PGA Riviera Maya, he finished 2nd. So, look, he's 19. He's still a raw player. He does need work around the greens, but he is consistent for a 19-year-old kid. He's only missed 3 cuts in 17 starts this year. That's pretty remarkable for a 19-year-old kid. to do that. Corn Ferry Tour Experience. I mean, talking one thing. Look, go low, dude. He's sporting a 24.8% birdie or better percentage this year. That ranks very high in the top percentage amongst his peers. And for this course, that is the type of skill set that he's going to need, which maybe you take a flyer on the 19-year-old kid, Blades Brown, as a top 10, where you're looking, he's almost a 10-1 for a top 10. So do like Blades Brown this week. Might make her card, especially that number for a top 10. I think, why not take a flyer on the 19-year-old here? Another one, Christian Bezadenhout. He's difficult to get a read on. He does have 4 top 10 finishes globally this season, so that accounts for 25% of his starts. However, it's just, I don't know. It's hard to predict how he's going to match up amongst his peers from week to week. He is an accomplished putter. He's been volatile on the greens. Lost 4 strokes putting in Canada. But he gained nearly 6 at Aronimink. So, I mean, Aronimink's a tough fucking course. So he does well there and then shits the bed in Canada. I don't know. Tee to green play, it's back and forth from really fucking good to really fucking shitty. So, I mean, you just don't know what you're going to get. Right? I don't know. But if you kind of zoom out a little bit, he is having a good year. I mean, one of the best years of his career. He's gained nearly almost a full stroke per round. He is one of the shorter hitters on tour, but he does make up for it with accuracy, which is going to be key here. We said it's not about a distance; it's about accuracy here and your position in the fairway, because you sure as shit don't want to be in the rough. So, because we said, greens in regulation from the fairway, 80% are hitting greens in regulation if they're hitting from the fairway. 55% greens in regulation if you're hitting from the rough. So again, he's accurate, but can he do it through 4 rounds? And putting, it's pretty good putting. He's going to make his fair amount of putts outside 20 feet. I don't know. I think there's some value. I mean, I believe this was a DraftKings number when I looked this up. Top 10 number, like 4-1 to finish top 10. I don't know. Maybe take a flight. It's just one of those things. He's up and down from week to week, but his skill set, does fit this course. If he can put 4 good rounds together, like I say, even for top 10. Look, doesn't necessarily have to be a winner, but you get some good money for a top 10. And then we'll look at some long shots here. Emiliano Grillo. 2 runner-up finishes here. Tied for 20th at the RBC Canadian Open. Tied for 23rd U.S. Open. Elite course history here for Grillo. So, again, maybe you take a flyer on him. As an outright, he's like 84-1 odds here for him to win. And then we did mention, as we broke down some of the key stats and key things to look at this weekend from a player profile, Ryo Hisatsuni. This is about a 50-1 here. He's made 18 consecutive cuts. He's an excellent driver, and he's the best par 5 scorer in the field this week at TPC Deere Run. Now, another one kind of stuck out. 56-1 odds here. Aldrich Potgieter. Some people, I like the kid's game, but it kind of feels like one of those boomer bust type plays, but it does have upside. He is the longest hitter on tour this season, sits 4th in strokes gained off the tee. And he's got that raw talent too, some recent uptick in form, 4 straight cuts made with a pair of top 25s, plus a tied for 35th at the PGA Championship. So here's the real catch though. TPC Deere Run has historically rewarded accuracy over power, and we've said it throughout this program here. So his driving accuracy and his approach play have lagged behind his distance numbers for most of the season. So again, if he's accurate, if he's hitting from the fairway, might be another solid play for Pikkit. Again, maybe it's a long shot, right? So he's like 56, 55 to 1. And you take him for top 5, top 10. I don't know. But look, if his ball striking's on and he can find enough fairways and stay out of that thick bluegrass fescue rough, I mean, and he can reach, there's reachable par 5s here. I mean, he could be a real weapon. We'll see. Another one, Jackson Suber. He was 200 to 1 odds to win last week. Is about 60 to 1 to win this week. He is top 7 in his strokes gained on his approach play, his good drives, and top 7 in the proximity to greens. 100 to 150 proximity range. So statistically, Jackson Suber is a perfect fit. I do like the kid's game. So maybe you want to take a flyer on him at 61. Daniel Berger, his name was mentioned previously as we talked about some players and how they fit. He is number 1 in strokes gained and approach in the field this week. Although he has struggled with putting. Now, we did say, though, historically, poor putters have come in here and won this thing. So, and you did see signs of improvement with him last week in his play. Ben Coles, another one, 82 to 1 odds here. He did win on the Korn Ferry Tour recently, tied for 23rd U.S. Open. His elite approach numbers make him a good fit and maybe one of the bigger sleeper plays here. And you ask, all right, what about first-round leaders? And again, these aren't official plays. Official plays will be posted before tee times tomorrow on our Twitter X page. What the fuck people are calling it. I'm old, so I call it Twitter. Whatever. X, just whatever. At OTH Sports Pod, you'll get the plays listed. And then, maybe throughout the weekend, we'll have a couple others thrown up there, here and there, some live betting. Because golf is great for live betting. So, look, if you're looking at a first-round leader, Ben Griffin, 30 to 1 as a first-round leader. He is 84th. He's in the 84th percentile on his approach play, 97th percentile in putting. He did tie for 5th here previously. And I bet you're never going to guess who I'm going to say for another possible first-round leader at 50 to 1 odds. Tom Kim. We talked about Tom Kim. Look, just a recap. Elite wedge play, his recent form, he's been strong. Coming off a strong U.S. Open. Maybe he's a perfect Thursday scorer. Now, again, traffic and weather on the twos. We did say rain Thursday, Friday, Sunday, Saturday, probably going to be the best day looking at the weather forecast. So, who knows? All the guys we just talked about could be completely off the boards by Friday afternoon, and no idea. Because again, when you're dealing with weather, it's just a wild card at that point. And especially if you have weather delays and you have a stoppage of play, that's going to really throw a wrench into things. Now, again, I don't know, just kind of messing around here. Maybe you do some parlays. Maybe you do like a Ben Griffin, say top 10, a Denny McCarthy, top 20, Seamus Power, maybe a top 30, and Eric Cole, a top 40. That's somewhere around a 40 to 1 same game parlay. Even DraftKings, you can do your own same game parlay. So maybe you do like a Ben Griffin, Tom Kim, JT Posting, Cashmere, Keith Mitchell, Denny McCarthy to make the cut. It's like 3 to 1 number there. If you look at Ben Griffin, Tom Kim, JT Posting, Keith Mitchell, and Denny McCarthy, look, that's 3 times your money there if you take that parlay. In the last 3 seasons at TPC Deere Run, the cut has been 5 under, 5 under, and 4 under, rounds of 70. You just need not apply there. Got to be under. We said par will kill you this week. You got to score. You got to score on par fives, and your wedge game is got to be money. So look, maybe you do Carson Young and Michael Thorbjornsen top 40. That gets you like a 4-1 number if you parlay those two together. Last 3 visits for Thorbjornsen, he's been finding his comfort zone here as an amateur in 2023. His final 54 holes, 16 under to finish tied for 17th. And 2024, he had a share of second, 4 shots behind champion Davis Thompson. So 4 rounds of 67 or better. And then in 2025, he closed with a 63 for the second consecutive event to earn tied for 21st money. So again, maybe you do Carson Young, Michael Thorbjornsen. That gets you like 4, maybe 4.5 to 1 odds, depending again what book you're using there. I don't know. I don't like this one, but it's a little bit too much juice for me. But again, winning score over 261.5. That's like a minus 135, 140, depending on what book you're using. So since moving to TPC Deere Run in 2000, only 8 players posted 72 hole total scores lower than 262. I'm going to tell you who that was. Steve Stricker, who's obviously not playing this. He won this event over 3 consecutive seasons from 2009 through 2011. He did set the tournament scoring record of 2,600 in 2010. And then Michael Kim went 1 shot lower to win the 2018 title. And his winning total was 257, 8 shots better than second place. Now, Davis Thompson, he did set the new mark in the 2024 tournament with a total, we said earlier, 28 under at 256. So, and he was joined by 5 others who posted 23 under or better here at this tournament. So, signature event field last week did not produce that winning total lower than 21 under on the second shortest course on tour. Right. So that tells you something. And we thought, when I was on here Saturday afternoon giving a third round update, and it looked like we were going to beat those numbers. We're going to get below the overall winning score. And then Keegan Bradley, was he 23 under, I believe, in 2025 and 2023. So it looked like those numbers were going to get eclipsed. But then you had the weather move in, and that kind of threw a wrench into everything, and that went out the window. So maybe you like over 261.5 for the winning score. I mean, the trends are there if you like it. This one just kind of threw it out just because there was a playoff on Monday for the Travelers. Will there be a playoff? No. Minus 750. I'm not fucking touching that. You got to parlay that with something to get even plus money somewhere, or even get it remote. I mean, probably the likelihood of a playoff here. Did I make notes when the last time? 2025, Brian Campbell did need an extra hole to beat out Emiliano Grillo to win in 2025. That was the first time, though, the extra holes were needed to win. That's when Jordan Spieth defeated Tom Gillis in 2015. So, look, I don't know. I just don't see it. But 2018 tournament, the champion won by 1 shot. So, I don't know. Maybe if you say yes to a playoff, now that gets you positive money. That's about 4.5, maybe even a 5-1 number, depending on what book you're looking at. If you say, yeah, there's going to be a playoff, throw some pizza money on that. Long-ass golf segment. A lot of golf. This is Tee to Green that we do here on Wednesdays here on Off the Hook, but we do have some Major League Baseball stuff. But to wrap up golf, here you go. Quick takeaway for John Deere Classic so you can get your betting cards set before tee times tomorrow. We said it's going to be a birdie fest. Winning score likely somewhere 22, 25, 26, maybe 27 under. We had 28 under. Again, it's going to be a scoring fest. Putter wedge play is going to be key. He said accuracy over distance this week. And course history on these guys, extremely predictive, just as last week with the Travelers. And young players and first-time winners typically always emerge here. And look, we talked about it. Tom Kim, he pretty much checks off every box that we've gone through statistically here. So again, that's everybody seems to be on Tom Kim. So again, do what you wish with Tom Kim. Jackson Koivin, Blades Brown, two of the young stars that people are watching. I do like Blades Brown. I like both of those guys, actually. I don't know to win. Top 5, top 10, though, is a possibility. Look, and don't be afraid of long shots here. 50 to 1, 60 to 1, 80 to 1. And the reason I say that is because the average winner odds here over the last decade or so are around 112 to 1. So look, betting this week, live betting, this is what we want to prioritize. Strokes gained approach, birdie percentage, your good drives, accuracy over distance, par 4 scoring, your proximity to green. We said the 75 to 100, 150 yards. That's the money shot, right, this week. And the bent grass putting. So there you go. John Deere Classic. Rapid fire, we gave that to you. But look, it's a lot. We try to be as informative as possible because, look, the idea is to help you guys beat the Bucks. And this is bankroll building season. College football, NFL right around the corner. So we've got to make some money before then. So, again, our card will be on our X/Twitter page at OTH Sports Pod. And if you couldn't write everything down as fast as I'm talking, watch the replay all weekend, and look, we'll try to help you out. And if we do any other plays outside of what we post tomorrow, we will certainly post those as well at OTH Sports Pod on X. So that is golf. That is the majority of our shows here on Wednesdays on Tee to Green. But we do have some Major League Baseball stuff to get to as games. We got first pitches coming. Golf took a little bit longer than usual. So we went through the John Deere Classic, right? All that good stuff. But now let's go across the diamond and give you some baseball. It's absolute buffet of baseball. We even had some early games this afternoon. And the fucking... I was watching this as I was getting notes together. The fucking Cubs absolutely obliterated the Padres 23-3 in Chicago. Tigers all over the Yankees 6-2. Yankees losing streak continues into July. Blue Jays on top of the Mets are against the Mets or fade the Mets. Bets are still alive. We are tracking those the rest of the season. I said it a couple days ago. I'm going to go against the Mets pretty much every day to the end of the season. And we are tracking that on Pikkit, and we'll give you the official numbers at the end of the Major League Baseball season. That should be fun. Just fade the Mets. Mets losers of Blue Jays 9-3. What a fucking dumpster fire they are. The Cleveland Indians beating up on the Rangers 9-4. Nationals fucking killed the Red Sox. We knew that they just swept the Yankees. We knew they were about to get their fucking asses beat. They lost at home 10-2 to the Nats. And Orioles all over the White Sox in Baltimore 6-1. And the rest of the games we're going to get into for tonight's slate. But you know what? We're going to flip. Actually, fuck it. Whatever. So let's get into real quick. Jorge Posada was on a podcast and was talking about baseball today versus when him and Jeter and Pettit and all these guys played a few years back. Well, probably like 10, 15 years ago, which is crazy. It's been that long. But Jorge Posada had some takes on the game when he played and the game today. So I requoted a post talking about Posada and his comments, and absolutely fucking set the page on fire. People went absolutely fucking bonkers with this thing. And I got called a fucking moron and whatever. So let me explain my take and what Jorge Posada was saying. I just threw out a simple question is because Jorge Posada said that baseball has become too comfortable with strikeouts and too dependent on analytics. So look, you can see that is the post there on the screen. Okay. Now, I said Jorge Posada is right. I don't mean he's right about everything, but I do agree with some of the things that Jorge Posada has said, and I'm going to explain my take on this. And look, there's no right or wrong answer, but I do agree with some of the things that Posada said in the podcast. And there's some other things we'll get into later on in the week, because we are here 5 days a week this week. So we'll get into some of the other things he talked about, the Yankees and Roger Clemens, but... look, I don't think today's players are less talented than when he played. It's not what I'm saying by saying Jorge Posada is right. Look, the guys are bigger, stronger, faster. Pitchers throw harder. Hitters hit the ball harder. Look, training is better. The nutrition is better. Better data. The talent level is insane. However, I do think the game has become more accepting of strikeouts. And they lost some of the contact, the speed, the situational awareness that made the sport more entertaining. Now, you could argue that, again, there's no right or wrong answer. I'm just giving you my take, and you can drop your take in the comments. You can feel free to comment and call me a fucking moron, an idiot on Twitter, X. I don't really care because, look, I have a fucking opinion. And opinions are like assholes. Everybody's got one. So, look, again, some things have changed for the good. Some things have changed for the better. There's been an uptick in viewership in baseball. If they have a work stoppage, lockout, strike, whatever you want to call it, they're going to have a fucking problem with fans and bringing fans back. But that's a whole topic for another day, and we talked about that last week. But so let's take a look at Posada here. Like I said, I think the game has become too accepting of strikeouts, and they lost some of that small ball, right? So let's rewind to when Posada, Jeter, Tony Gwynn, Ken Griffey Jr., Ichiro, some of these guys played. Look, if a guy struck out 180 times, that was a huge red flag, right? Now, if he hits, say, 35 homers with a good OPS, everyone shrugs. And I get why. Math says power matters. Math says walks and home runs are valuable. The math says that strikeouts aren't that much worse than other outs. But here, the problem is baseball isn't played on a spreadsheet unless you're Kenny Atkinson with the Cavs and he thinks everything's on a spreadsheet and they should have won like 2 games in the next series. But I digress. So there's something, though, to be said about putting the ball in play and like chicks dig the long ball, swinging for the fences. It's not always about that, though. You got to move runners, situational hitting, shortening up with 2 strikes, stealing a bag. I mean, we got bigger fucking bases now. Look, taking the extra base, making the defense actually make a play, even sack flies, right? That's even gone down. So I think that's what Posada is. That's just my take, watching and reading the transcripts from the podcast. I think that's what he's getting at. Now, look, analytics are great. I'm not knocking analytics, and I'll get to why, especially as a Dodgers fan. I'm not knocking analytics. I think they're great when you look at things like exit velocity, the hard hit rate, your barrel percentage, OPS, and WAR, all that shit, all these fucking acronyms and whatnot. But the analytics piece can't always capture clutch hitting, leadership, your baseball IQ, the durability, your impact of the clubhouse. Look how a player is going to perform in a tight situation, under pressure situation, right? You look at, say, Jeter, Ichiro, Tony Gwynn, all these guys come up in conversation that the value wasn't just on the spreadsheet. Can you measure them on a spreadsheet? Of course you can. You can measure anything you fucking want. But then again, look, there were flaws in Jeter's game. There were flaws in Posada's game. But I'm sure Joe Torre wouldn't trade those guys for anybody because they fucking won championships, right? And those guys knew how to play. I'm not saying the guys today don't know how to play. I'm saying it's a different type of game. Now, I think he says, Posada says there, he can't watch baseball. I think he says today's game is garbage. You can't. I don't believe that at all. It's a different game. Things are different, but I do think there's elements of the game not too far past 10, 15 years ago that are missing or are on the verge of not extinct, but you're seeing less and less of this aspect of the game as the game is evolving, right? So I think that's what he's getting at. And again, he's right to some degree, but I don't agree with him wholeheartedly. And here's where where this debate gets more interesting, right? Because again, I said analytics are not bad. That's just that's just a lazy fucking answer, right? Analytics are bad. Okay, well, so look, as a Dodgers fan, the Dodgers are probably one of the smartest analytical organizations in baseball. And I'm not just using this example as a Dodgers fan, but if you look at it, they are. I'm going to tell you why. Now, there's also the perfect example of why analytics and old school baseball instincts can coexist together, right? And the Dodgers are that model, in my opinion. Again, opinions like assholes. Everybody's got one. Whatever. So the Dodgers aren't just loading the lineup with 9 guys that are trying to hit 40, 50 home runs and strike out 180 times. The Dodgers, if you look at now, again, I've been a critic of Dave Roberts in the past, and I'll admit it. But over the course of his career, I think he's learned from his mistakes, and he's won championships. You can't knock him, but he's learned from his mistakes and he's adjusted. One thing that Dave Roberts has done, and this whole Dodgers organization, to me, it kind of started with Mattingly a little, but it was more so when Roberts took over and as his career as a manager evolved. Look, they develop players and they value the versatility, the adaptability of these players. They value guys who can move around, survive injuries, and that helps you win. And I'm going to give you the perfect example. Mookie Betts. Now, Mookie Betts, most organizations would have said, look, you got a gold glove right fielder. You're going to stay in right field. The Dodgers said, hey, can you play second? Hey, can you play short? Hey, can you move around if it helps us win? Look, that's not just analytics. That's coaching. That's player development. That's a buy-in from the player, right? And that's where the Dodgers are. You get this coexisting of the analytics and the player development, right? The same thing can be said for Tommy Edman, center field, shortstop, second base. Look, Kike Hernandez, that guy can the guy's even fucking pitched. Literally, wherever you need Kike Hernandez, when he's not hurt, you can put him there. And even Chris Taylor recently retired. Like, he did it for years, not just with the Dodgers, but with other teams. I mean, look, these guys are like a Swiss Army knife, right? I hate the word utility player. I think guys like this, and I always thought of them like this, even growing up, it's like a Swiss Army knife, right? They just can do everything. And you get that buy-in from the player. And that's one of the reasons why when the Dodgers have injuries, they survive these injuries better than most teams. Look, they don't need the perfect lineup card out there every day for 162 games because they have these guys who can move around. And again, the player has to have the buy-in too. But then you also have to have the organization and the coaching staff support it and help you develop that, right? That's my stance on the whole thing. Is Posada right on some things? In my opinion, yes. Is he wrong? Yes. Analytics are valuable, but in my opinion, they work best when they're combined with the right coaches, right coaching staff, the instincts, the versatility of the player, the situational baseball, and the baseball IQ. Look, Mookie Betts, his baseball IQ is off the charts. He's athletic. I mean, check the fucking boxes on Mookie Betts or Kike Hernandez or Tommy Edman or Chris Taylor. Right? These guys fit the mold, but they also have the buy-in. They also have the coaches there to support them. and help them grow into those positions. Even Max Muncy playing third, playing first. And Max Muncy is, I wouldn't say he's as athletic as Mookie Betts, but he's moved around. But Mookie Betts, in my opinion, is a good example to use here on how the analytics and the old school, say, baseball game that Posadas talk about can coexist. And look, you just have to have the will to adapt, the baseball IQ, and the coaches to support it. So again, these Swiss Army knife type players that the Dodgers have, that's how they survive injuries and are possibly going to win 3 in a row. So the problem isn't analytics, in my opinion. The problem is when organizations treat analytics like a religion and forget there's still the human element to the game, right? So look, I'd love for other people to go on Twitter at OTH Sports Pod, drop something in the comments. You agree, disagree? I don't really look. It's a debate. It's getting a lot of traffic. Hell, even Kirk Herbstreit retweeted this fucking post or one of these posts about Posada. I don't know if I necessarily agree with Kirk Herbstreit as a football, whatever. It's everybody's got an opinion, and he has one. He tweeted it out. Good on him. But again, feel free to voice your comments in chat. Go to at OTH Sports Pod and find the thread there from yesterday and comment away on what you think. I'd love to hear it because again, everybody's got an opinion and look, there's no right or wrong answer here. But I do think it's the coexist piece like I said, is Posada right? I don't know. Partly, I guess maybe he is. I do feel that, they kind of just shrug off some of these strikeouts in these guys. Another twist, and this is kind of a separate debate, but kind of ties into this. When you look at free agent market, there's guys in the free agent market, and I'm going to stick with the Dodgers for a second here. Kyle Tucker. To me, guys like Kyle Tucker are a dime a dozen. But yet the Dodgers paid him fucking, $240 million? It's some obnoxious number that I hated from the start because I wanted pitching. I value pitching or a utility. I'm not going to use the word utility. A Swiss Army type player like a Mookie Betts, a Tommy Edman, and Chris Taylor, somebody like that, versus a Kyle Tucker who's kind of like a one-dimensional player who I felt like his number was inflated in the offseason because the free agent market was limited. So, look, good on Kyle Tucker for taking a bag. But I think the guy's fucking terrible. And when I was out there for a game a couple weeks ago, he had the chance to knock in a run and keep the game alive, and the fucking dipshit struck out. Just as I said to my girlfriend, this asshole is going to come up and fucking strike out. And I must have talked to 5 people on the way out into the parking lot to the bathroom that were bitching about Kyle Tucker. So I'm not the only one, right? And this is where analytics can dilute it. And Kyle Tucker, he did so well with the Cubs. And look, fucking Wrigley Field, it's a fucking bandbox. It's a small park, right? And if the wind's blowing out, you're going to get a lot of numbers. So he looked great in Chicago, right? And some people can't play in big markets, right? And it's a lot tougher to play in LA and New York than it is, in my opinion, in Chicago. But again, Kyle Tucker is another example that kind of ties into this, in my opinion, where these guys are getting the big bag. And look, good on them, take the money. But this is where the market can be overinflated in some of these guys because analytically, these guys fit the mold. Okay. But look, Kyle Tucker is nowhere near a leader like a Mookie Betts, a Clayton Kershaw. Even Kike Hernandez is more of a leader than Kyle Tucker. And Kyle Tucker can't even fucking pull his own weight in batting average. So fuck him. But that's, whatever. So look, feel free to chime in the comments. At OTH Sports Pod on Jorge Posada. And we're going to continue on here as we continue with knocking on the New York Mets and continue to fade the Mets and the dumpster fire that is the New York Mets. Now, look, I somewhat sympathize with Mets fans. look, this ownership group, this team, it's just been a dumpster fire from the start. And now you got Eric Chavez. He was a coach there a couple years ago, got fired. He's spilling the beans on what happened. I'm just going to let Eric Chavez run his mouth here for like a minute, and then we'll digest what he said.
Was when we signed Juan, and I love Juan, by the way. Juan will give you the shirt off his back. I think he's one of the coolest human beings, just a really good person. But he struggled the first 2 months emotionally, right? And I don't blame him. Big move going from the Yankees. Maybe had a little bit of buyer's remorse. It's all going to work out. Juan's going to the Hall of Fame. You know, I even tabbed him to be an MVP type of player, and he's going off. Like, he's hitting-wise, he's unreal. But he struggled. And in between innings, he would run from the outfield and go sit in the batting cage on a couch and not be in the dugout with a teammate, right? And like I said, I'm not throwing Juan. This isn't a Juan issue, right? This is a lack of leadership, lack of accountability from the top down. And we had an assistant GM who would sit there with him. The assistant GM would sit there with him and kind of coddle him and, you know, tap him on the shoulder without saying, hey, dude, how about getting in the dugout with your teammates, right?
Yeah.
And so I brought this up to Stearns. And I said, this is a huge problem because now younger players, who we have younger players on the team, they're seeing this. And your guys are allowing this. And he goes, well, those players need to learn that they're not Juan Soto.
All right. So okay. So this is where I sympathize with the Mets fans, right? And what Eric Chavez said about the comments from David Stearns, which is pretty fucking wild, if you ask me. For him to say that, I mean, look, he's basically saying Soto's a superstar, and look, you're not on the same level as Soto. Or two, he's just basically saying rules for thee, not for me, right? So again, either way, as a Mets fan, I'm sure you hate the fucking answer. And this is where, as a Mets fan, I kind of sympathize with you because it seems like the whole organization is off the rails right now. You got crickets from ownership during this stretch of firing Mendoza. I mean, this team is just a complete dumpster fire. Look, and this is where story has legs, right? Look, if the Mets were good, nobody cares. They're winning 95 games. This probably doesn't even happen. We're not even talking about this. They're not good. Look, they're last place. They're bottom with the Giants, the Rockies. You fired Mendoza a little too late. David Stearns making dumb comments that, well, you're not Juan Soto. And look, Juan Soto is a fucking knucklehead, and I think he is a cancer in the locker room, regardless of the talent. I wouldn't pay him any amount of money. And there's something between him and Lindor that we'll figure out later of whatever their beef is, and they can't coexist. And now you have a former coach calling out leadership and saying there's an accountability problem. That's just how, you know, a bad season just turns into a complete dumpster fire and an organizational mess. And it just, it keeps getting worse, which is, you know, what brought us to the fade the Mets for the rest of the season. And look, just when you thought that, you know, Mets couldn't do more Mets things because the team's completely trash already, but they just keep giving us content. And this clip here was from Monday. And again, Juan Soto, if you haven't seen this clip, we'll play the clip here, or this inside the park. This is like a fucking Little League home run here against the Blue Jays on Monday. So here's Juan Soto, all the money you're paying this fucking guy, and this is what he does.
Product. 2-2 from Minaya. And Springer lofts one out to left. On comes Soto, and it drops, and it bounces by him. Off the turf and all the way to the wall. Springer,
yeah, no hustle. This is like bad news bears.
Springer's going to circle the bases. Con product.
This is a fucking. I should have had the Bad News Bears music queued up for that. We need a fucking producer. If anybody's willing to be a producer, I can give you some stickers and T-shirts. We have no budget, but if you want to be a producer, I can't teach my dogs how to hit buttons yet. So, but that's bad on me. I should have the Bad News Bears music queued up for that blooper clip of Juan Soto. Good grief. I mean, how they fucking won yesterday is beyond me. Probably because Gausman was pitching for the Blue Jays and they got one there. But anyway, I mean, Juan Soto, again, shits the bed. And then the next one, I mean, allegedly this is Major League Baseball, and this is where the Mets are out there doing Mets things. And same game, a little bit later, and this guy, he hits his own teammate in the on-deck circle. Watch the bottom right-hand corner of your screen here.
Alvarez behind Mauricio, and right there. Ow.
Right here.
That's the weighted bet, too. Looks like Alvarez is going to be okay. Mauricio in to pinch hit for Eric Alvarez behind Mauricio, right.
I mean, you hit your own teammate in the fucking on-deck circle. How does that even happen? I mean, they don't even need opponents right now. They're just, they're creating their own enemies. It's like the Mets versus the Mets. Again, I don't know. And then today of all days, as we continue with this new tradition here at Off the Hook of fade the Mets for the rest of the season, it happens to be, everybody talks about this every year, but look, we're going to mention it because of fading the Mets. Bobby Bonilla Day, right? Every July 1st, this rolls around. So look, happy Bobby Bonilla Day to Mets fans and non-Mets fans. But again, so Bobby Bonilla Day here. It's like the gift that keeps on giving with Bobby Bonilla. Look, $1.2 million. 63-year-old Bobby Bonilla gets a $1.2 million check from the New York Mets every July 1st, 2011 to 2035. The guy hasn't played since 1999. It's just a running joke every year. He's even getting some type of money from the Orioles. He was there for a hot minute. Now, to be fair, he also so there is, for Mets fans already know this, but so here's how this worked with this deferred money. And look, teams are deferring money. I get it, but deferring Bonilla's money actually helped the Mets create money so they could go and sign Mike Hampton, which Mike Hampton became the NLCS MVP, but then he left for Colorado and the Mets got a compensation pick. But now the compensation pick was David Wright. So it's hard to, it's just this, again, because the Mets are so bad, it just sheds more light on some of these things, even though the compensation pick was David Wright. But there you go. Bobby Bonilla Day is connected to David Wright. If you didn't know it, use that with your friends as a trivia question and see if they know that. So again, the deferring money led the Mets to get Mike Hampton, who was the NLCS MVP, who then went to Colorado. Mets get a compensation pick. Use the compensation pick for David Wright. There's your baseball trivia, and win some money from your friends. But only baseball can create a sentence that is that insane. I mean, look, this is like a pension plan with vibes for Bobby Bonilla. Now, to be fair, we're not just going to bang on the Mets, because there are other teams with deferred money here, and I'm going to show you a list of teams with deferred money other than the Mets. So if you look, in addition to Bobby, he's $500,000 from the Orioles from a January 2000 contract deferral. So There's other players who are also getting deferred money. Max Scherzer. So the Nats are paying him $15 million a year through the end of 2027. And he's even getting $15 million in 2028 from my Dodgers. So, again, there's other teams that are stupid. Again, deferred money's all over the place. Chris Davis from the Orioles, there's his deferred money from 2026 to 2032, $3.5 million annually. And then 2033 to 2037, $1.4 million annually. Manny Ramirez, Jesus Christ. This is the final year, though. The Red Sox are shelling out $2 million for Manny Ramirez. Ryan Braun will continue to collect almost $2 million from the Brewers through 2031. Liam Hendricks from the White Sox, $1.5 million through 2033. Adam Wainwright from the Cardinals, $1 million from them through 2033. And then you get Lorenzo Cain from the Brewers, another $1 million through end of next year through 2027. Brett Saberhagen, Jesus Christ, when the hell's the last time Brett Saberhagen pitched for the Mets? $250,000 annually. Through 2028 from the Mets. So again, just wanted to mention it because it is Bobby Bonilla Day here. So again, let's just go right to these fucking games for tonight, since some of these are already underway. We'll get to. I had some other fucking trade news, but we can get to that on one of the other days this week. So let's go to some of the games here tonight that we're looking at on the slate of games. Some good games. Braves Cardinals in about 20 minutes first pitch. Atlanta, there's a favorite here around minus 135. Run total sitting around 9. Cardinals won last night 5-3 as road dogs. And Mike McGreevy for the Cardinals on the bump against Ronaldo Lopez for Atlanta. It did open at minus 125, moved to minus 135. So market is pushing toward the Braves tonight. Now, Braves are, this is DraftKings numbers. Braves are taking 75% of money line bets, 86% of the money line dollars. And that's typically a market signal that I would like. Now, Braves are 20-13 after a loss this season. McGreevy has been worse on the road, 4.36 ERA compared to 1.96 at home. Atlanta does have the better bullpen, compared to the Cards at 4.37 ERA for them. Let's see what other notes I got here. Braves are 24-15 at home. Even though Atlanta is struggling, it's a good bounce back spot for them. Braves did go 9-14 in June. They lost 7 of the last 10. They're on a 3-game slide. Acuna Jr. still on the injured list. Spencer Strider, Spencer Schwellenbach are out. Bryce Elder regressed, and his ERA is over 4. Michael Harris is missing in action. Drake Baldwin still knocking off rust from that oblique injury. But again, because they started so hot, they still have a 2.5-game lead. The problem is the Phillies are making a run here. Phillies are 38-19 since firing Rob Thompson in April. And, look, Dave Dombrowski, he's just not going to sit around. And if he thinks Schwarber, Harper, Turner has one more championship push, he's going to make moves at the trade deadline. And look, the Marlins, and don't sleep on the Marlins. They went 20-6 in June, only 4.5 games back. Anybody got any 40-1 preseason ticket in pocket for the Marlins division winners there? Look, if you got one, it's still alive. And being alive in July for a 41 ticket of the Marlins, it's pretty good. If I had to guess, it's going to come down to Braves, Phillies. I don't know. Right now, if I had to guess, the way the Phillies are playing, I'd say Phillies win the division, but we'll see. So I'd say, official lean here would be Braves money line. If we want to quick fire that off, and I also say Braves Cardinals no run first inning because both starters have sub 3.5 ERAs, and it does look like a clean first inning spot. Another prop angle, Matt Olson, over 1.5 total bases, getting plus money there. Actually, Matt Olson has been one of the only Braves producing lately. He's batting .400, 3 doubles over the past week, 310 over the last 2 weeks. McGreevy allows more slug to lefties, and he's had issues with the long ball on the road, let me tell you. So, yeah, I just feel like this is a good spot here for the Braves to get it done tonight. And listen, also, Olsen hasn't homered since June 12th. I feel like he's fucking due. That's a fun one if you want that. Olsen homer around plus 320, maybe even plus 330. It's also in play. It's we Tuesday. We are due Wednesday. Next game, Twins Astros. Minnesota took the opener 5-4. Houston bounced back 6-4 tonight. Taj Bradley goes on the hill for the Twins against Tatsuya Amai for Houston. Line was Stros at minus 120 now, up to around a minus 135. So sharp money coming on the Stros. And look, some run line interest here. Houston minus 1.5 at plus 155 was only getting 41% of the spread. And 74% of the spread dollars on DraftKings for the Stros. I don't know. Bradley's had a rough June. 5.53 ERA over 5 starts, 17 earned runs, 27 and 2/3 innings. He's pitched in June. He's also really bad at night. Over 5 ERA compared to 3 ERA, around 3 ERA on day games. So, look, play here would be Astros money line. And if we want to get spicy, Astros run line at plus money is also interesting. Reds Brewers 8:10 Eastern time. So I got an hour or so ish. If you want to fire off some bets there. Look, Brewers already won the first 2 games of the series 5-3, 7-2. Tonight, Andrew Abbott for the Big Red Machine against Shane Drohan for the Brew Crew. The line opened Brewers minus 155, moved up to 160. Even got some books even got to minus 165 in some spots. DraftKings numbers, Brewers are taking in 86% of the bets, and they're raking in 96% of the money. It's a heavy, sharp action, one-sided here for the Brewers. Look, Brewers, better lineup, hitting 255 with 430 runs compared to the not-so-big Red Machine, batting 227 with 355 runs. Better bullpen for the Brewers, 3.64 ERA, 7th in the majors. Reds bullpen, 4.87, 25th in majors. Brewers 28-17 at home. The Reds 20-23 on the road. And then you also look at the Brewers 5-0 against the Reds this season. So Brewers money line, if you like that. And I also do like the under here. Look at Abbott. His peripherals are scary. His FIP is over 5. His expected earned run is almost a run higher than his actual ERA. And he's been getting more whiffs and chases. He has been getting more whiffs and chases lately, though. His swinging strike rate over the last 7 starts is 12%, and his chase rate is 32.7, even though the rest of his numbers kind of suck. Drohan just faced the Reds team and went 4 1/3 scoreless, and now he gets them at home. Look, the Brewers, you can't argue. They're one of the smartest pitching organizations in baseball. I don't think he goes deep, but then you get the Brewers bullpen coming in, which is a strength, right? We just went over their Brewers bullpen, 3.64 ERA, 7th in the majors. So even if he only goes 4 1/3, maybe he gets 5, bullpen comes in early, you still get it done. Look, Reds offense has been bottom 5 over the last 14 days. So Brewers money line, under 9, I would say both on the radar, both in play. Another, if you like a player prop here, Jackson Chourio. Look, Abbott leans heavily on his 4-seam fastball, almost a 47% usage rate there. It's not overpowering. It's only around 93 miles an hour, low whiff, and bad expected results there on the 4-seamer from Abbott. Chourio, he is a fastball hunter. 3 for 7 lifetime off Abbott, hit 319, 10 homers in June, and against lefties, batting 333 with 4 homers and 57 at bats. I do like Chourio over 1.5 total bases. Chourio over 2.5 hits, runs, RBIs, and Chourio home run. And you get plus money, almost 4-1, plus 390 for a home run there. Rays Royals. This is interesting. This matchup. Shane McClanahan on the road is hot. Shane McClanahan on the road in hot, humid Kansas City. I think I had too many fucking Red Bulls today. The play I like, though, is McClanahan over 1.5 walks plus money. Now, chase rates under 20% in each of his last 2 starts. He is worse on the road. Opponents have a 331 OBP against him on the road compared to 257 home. Walk rate does jump to almost 11% away from Tropicana Field. And at this hot, humid night there in Kansas City, grip can become an issue. Royals don't walk a ton, which is why we're getting the plus money there. But look, McClanahan has gone over his number in 5 of 8 road starts. So McClanahan over 1.5 walks. The home run angle, Yandy Diaz. Everyone's focused on Junior Caminero, which we'll get to if you're not aware of the tear he's on. So Yandy, though, he hit 385 in June, and he doesn't swing and miss a lot. Ranks in the 97th percentile in expected batting average. And expected slugging percentage, 465. That's the highest since 2022. Seth Lugo, the target. Lugo ranks 11th percentile or worse in expected batting average, chase rate and whiff rate. And his ERA is 4.18. And expected ERA is 5.27. He's just allowing way too much barrel contact. So Yandy Diaz play for a homer. There's a DraftKings. Yeah, DraftKings. This was earlier, maybe an hour or two ago. Plus 532, the number there. Late game, Dodgers A's in that fucking bandbox out there. The Sacramento A's, the shit park they play out there. That's a 9:40 Eastern start there in Sacramento. The somewhat local kid in Lancaster, PA area, Nick Kurtz. I do like Nick Kurtz, home run prop here. I do like that number tonight. Looks like, I don't know if they have it. Last I heard is, well, still not the, I heard about Brock Stewart may start for, nope, it looks, I'm getting conflicting. Now I thought it was Brock Stewart. Now I say Jack Dreyer starting for the fucking Dodgers. I don't know. But allegedly Dreyer, I heard it was going to be Brock Stewart. But it looks like Dreyer is going to get the ball tonight for the Dodgers. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But even if it turns out to be a bullpen game, if Stewart starts, whatever, Dodgers bullpen can make do. But Kurtz is one of the better young hitters in the league. The odds are too high. I mean, really, for that number, and I'll get to that. What they call the Suter Health Park out there in Crapramento. Look, this is just astonishing. They play. It's like one of the best power environments in baseball. Look, mid-80s temp out there, and wind blowing out 9-10 miles an hour. So odds around. Anywhere I've seen odds for Kurtz home run, plus 270 to plus 320. So the Nick Kurtz homer is a good play. I do like that. As far as the game side, give me the fucking Dodgers run line minus 1.5. Now, JT Ginn, let me just see if he's still starting. Yeah, he is still starting. JT Ginn is still the expected starter for the Sacramento A's. Yeah, he's been decent. 83 innings pitched this season, 3.15 ERA, 1.22 whip. But look, this Dodgers lineup, top to bottom, is just fucking ridiculous. And this fucking ballpark just screams fucking runs and hits all over the place. I don't care. The Dodgers are on the road. Look, Ohtani in the line. Like I said, top to bottom, Dodgers lineup's fucking stacked. I like the Dodgers minus 1.5 for the run line. Let me see. Let me check Pikkit. Which, by the way, if you're not using Pikkit, you got to get it. Sync up all your books there, and gives you the latest or the best number as far as the odds go. So if you got Novig. of the books that I have, all the books that I have synced to Pikkit, out of the ones that I'm using, Novig's giving me the best number for the Dodgers run line at minus 104, so just about even money. I do like that play tonight out there, as well as the Nick Kurtz home run prop. Dodgers won last night, 9-3, 9-4 Monday night. So I think you get the sweep tonight against the Sacramento A's there. Another late one, Marlins Rockies Coors Field. Ruiz over 1.5 total bases. Yeah, I know. You're probably thinking, what the fuck? You're surprised I said Ruiz over 1.5 total bases. But look, if you look at it, how he grades out pretty well. So look, it's Coors Field. That's going to matter. Second, he is, here is his hitting numbers: 310, 370, 595 on the road this year. And then third, 3 of his 4 homers and 8 of his 12 extra base hits have come against lefties this year. So again, I say hello, Kyle Freeland. In June, Ruiz slashed 342, 479, and 605. Look, we got a hot hitter. It's Coors Field, lefty matchup. I also like over 1.5. That total bases there for Ruiz. On that number, any other plays I have listed here for that game? If you want to really throw some chaos in the mix for this game, take the Ruiz homer number, plus 585, if you like that, if you want to get a little spicy in Coors Field tonight. Like another Marlins homer shot, Heriberto Hernandez. Fuck, here I say, who the hell is that guy? So, all right, let's break down his numbers. 219 average, slugging below 400. Look, it's not sexy. I get it. But let's dig a little deeper here for a second. Hard hit rate up to 48% for Heriberto Hernandez. That's the 84th percentile there. Look, rolling hard hit, fly ball rates show he's been unlucky. Now, he is in a 1 for 16 skid here. But he's hitting the ball hard. And he's getting in the air, and it's Coors Field, and which is exactly why we went against Kyle Freeland. Same thing for the Ruiz play. Look, Freeland has been a fucking disaster. Extra base average 299, a barrel rate 11.2%. Expected batting average. What the fuck did I say? Expected batting average 299. Barrel rate 11.2%. Expected ERA 5.85. That's since May. Also since May, he's allowed 14 homers in 10 starts. So multiple homers in 5 of those 10 starts. And all but 1 of his 16 homers he's allowed have come to right-handed hitters. All but 1. Oh, here we go. Heriberto Hernandez, homer at plus 360 or better, buy low spot. Don't know if I'm playing it, but I kind of just maybe talked myself into it. Come up with these notes for this show. Well, this game's already fucking underway because we talked a lot of golf, but I did play Phillies, Pirates, no runs first inning. That they cashed, nothing. Bottom of the second. Now, typically, Skeens and Wheeler tonight. If you look at it, just matchup-wise by a name, like, Skeens, Wheeler, it's good. Skeens has been a fucking disaster here. But Skeens also, the Pirates don't really give him any run support either. But I'd say this is probably the best matchup on the slate of games tonight, which is why I took no runs first inning. But it really doesn't matter because we're now bottom of the second. So, all right. So, Major League Baseball, final recap. What do we say? Braves money line. Braves Cardinals, no runs first inning. Matt Olson over 1.5 total bases. Matt Olson home run if you really want to sweat that plus money. Astros money line. Brewers money line. Brewers Reds under 9. Jackson Chourio over 1.5 total bases. Jackson Chourio over over 2.5 hits, runs, RBIs. Jackson Chourio home run. One of them's bound to fucking catch, right? McClanahan over 1.5 walks. Yandy Diaz homer. Nick Kurtz homer. Dodgers run line. Ruiz over 1.5 total bases, and also Ruiz for getting a little spicy with the homer action there. And then Heriberto Hernandez homer. Knocks one out of the park against Kyle Freeland, I believe. And then we did say we cashed the Phillies Pirates no-run first inning. Holy fuck. A lot of fucking baseball. That was across the diamond. We're supposed to get to the baseball segment a little earlier, but we had a lot of golf talk and a lot of Jorge Posada talk. But look, you still have time to fire some of these games. Look, fucking Dodgers games left. The fucking Rays Royals. If you're gonna go fire off some bets, we just gave it to you. Reds game, Marlins game. Look, you got a lot of opportunity tonight, so whatever. But we gave you the Posada analytics debate mess, Twitter shitstorm that we started yesterday on our page. Just recap the full MLB betting card, and somewhere in the middle we had the Mets embarrassing themselves again. Bobby Bonilla payday. So let's get you to the Tommy trends of the day. We got a couple, and then we'll get you the Pikkit play of the day, as we are powered by Pikkit here. And I said, look, if you're not using the Pikkit app, what are you doing? Go to the Google Play Store or the App Store, download the Pikkit app, and put in code OTH when you set up your account. Follow us there on Pikkit. Track your crew, your bets, your friends, all in one place with Pikkit. We'll get to the Pikkit play day. But the Tommy trend of the day, before we get to that, let's let me see which one I want to give you guys first here. All right, let's go. We'll go with this. We talked about the Marlins, and I thought this was interesting. Marlins were the best team in baseball in June. This is from Jeff Passan. He posted this yesterday, earlier today. I don't know. But Marlins went 20-6, outscored opponents 129-78 in the month of June, and lowest fucking payroll in the majors. Marlins' third highest paid player is Giancarlo Stanton, and he hasn't played for them in nearly 10 years. So go Marlins. But Marlins had a very impressive June and are still in the mix for the NL East. Maybe you can get a wild card there. Marlins, a pretty good young team. They were our bark bet last week against the Cards. Not cash. So there's one of your Tommy trends for the day. Now, the next Tommy trend that we're going to get to here, and we did talk about it and said we'll get to that in a second. Junior Caminero. Oh, talk about a fucking hitter, a heater that this guy is on. I guess a little late to the party, but look, this is just ridiculous. And 5 straight games with a homer. I mean, he's just hitting every baseball to the fucking moon. 5 straight games, a homer. 5 straight games, Junior Caminero. Like, this Rays team, it's a pretty good team to watch. I'll tell you what, I saw them out in LA. They played the Dodgers when I was out there. And a pretty good team. And a big shout out to Charlie Valero, one of the bullpen coaches. Me and my girlfriend were chatting up with him for a couple of minutes as we sat right next to the Rays bullpen. And they can't have their phones there and whatever. And I'm sitting there, and right before the game starts, he leans over and he said, "Hey, can you pull up your phone and see who, what team was leading the American League in batting average?" And I'm like, I didn't know they couldn't have phones. They have tablets and shit. He's like, I know we can't have our phones. So, of course, gave me the answer. And then I said, hey, look, give me a ball. It was nice enough. Threw me a ball. So, thank you, Charlie Valero. But this Rays team is a good young team. But Junior Caminero, 5 straight games with a homer. And if you would have taken a $100 bet and just kept rolling that over through these 5 games, you'd have almost $67,000. I wasn't smart enough to do that. But if you did, that's good on you. But that's an insane number. Almost $67,000 from $100. It happens. I'm sure there's people who cashed that ticket. Now, I don't know anybody doing that. Wish I did. But look, it's just it shows insane the run he's been on. And look, hitting a home run is one of the hardest things to predict in sports betting. I mean, you look at throughout the history of the game, best power hitters hit one every handful of games. Now, to do it 5 straight games is just absolutely bonkers. What Junior Caminero is doing. You do it tonight? I don't know. I took a flyer on it. Well, fuck, why not? And look, it's not a random hot streak from like a fringe player or like a Heriberto Hernandez. I mean, he's one of the best young hitters in baseball. Real power. His bat speed is elite. Kid's got insane confidence and it's through the roof. And I feel like that's part of the streak here. Every time the kid's stepping in the batter's box, it's just like he knows something dangerous is about to happen. And I think, too, it's on the pitcher, too. The pitchers know he's looking to do damage, so maybe they're pitching scared. Scouting report knows the guy's a dangerous hitter. I mean, the fans know it. Look, somehow it still keeps happening. Yeah. Those are your Tommy trends for the day. Talked about the Marlins, one of the hottest teams in baseball, best June in baseball. If you got, look, we talked about it earlier, have any of those 40-1 Marlins tickets in your pocket, they're still alive. We'll see if, look, it's, can Junior Caminero continue this streak and make it 6 and bankrupt some more sports books on one home run at a time? Hope so, because we took a flyer on it for tonight. So not bad for a Wednesday. First in Tommy Trends. And just happened to glance over. Phillies pouring it on now. Bottom of the second, 5-0 over the Pirates. Skeens, 4 earned runs, 2 strikeouts, 2 walks. He's going to get fucking yanked. Cardinals, Braves, top of the first, Cards on top, 1-0. Rays, Royals about to get underway. And then we get the Twins and the Stros at 8:10 Eastern, Marlins, Rockies at 9:40 Eastern. And what the fuck is playing on my iPad? Anyway, and then we got the Dodgers A's at 9:40. I think that I believe I go back here. That's it. Yeah, we said Marlins Rockies at 8:40 and Giants D-backs at 9:40. Who cares? So there you go. That's across the diamond and MLB. Let's get you the Pikkit play of the day. As we say, we are powered here by Pikkit. Track your crew, your bets, your friends all in one place with the Pikkit app. Google Play Store, the App Store. Download the Pikkit app. Come have some fun with us on Pikkit and sync your sports books there. And look, it makes your life a whole hell of a lot easier with the Pikkit app. Line shop, line movements, set notifications. There's a free version. There's a paid version. Look, we should probably do a show on just a quick tutorial on Pikkit because there's so much information there. You can filter bets and tag bets and everything. It's a great app. And listen, if you're not using it, why not? I mean, it really, when you're doing live betting or even when you're trying to look at an MLB slate, golf bets, all you do is open one app, you sync your books, and it gives you, out of the books that you have synced, it gives you the best line, the best number out of all your books. And all you do is tap the game, takes you right to your book, you place the bet, and you're done. And everything's verified. You can follow us there. You can see all of our bets, plays, all that there on Pikkit. So now, normally the Pikkit play, this is a fucking wild card, let me tell you. Normally, this is a baseball play, NBA play, college basketball, NFL, right? You name it, okay? Hockey, right? Now, maybe a no run first inning, maybe a player prop. I don't know, aside. Oh boy. Oh God, ladies and gentlemen, it's 4th of July week. All right. America's 250 this weekend. And we're going to start July off with a bang. USA all the way starting this week. Big week for, obviously, USA 250. Big week for Off the Hook tomorrow, 100th episode. And make sure you come join us for that tomorrow afternoon. Maybe some surprises. I don't know what the fuck we're going to cook up here. Maybe I'll have my dogs, Mookie and Nash, run the show. No idea. It could be completely off the rails here tomorrow afternoon, but love to have you for the 100th episode. So big week for America, big week for us here. And this is a fucking first. Somebody racked this fucking tape. Today's Pikkit play. I should have like a drum roll keyed up here. Today's Pikkit play of the day, starting off the festivities of America 250. So we are going fucking Team USA tonight against Bosnia-Herzegovina. Tonight, World Cup action. We are fucking soccer handicappers now. No, we're not. Listen, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know shit about fuck when it comes to soccer. I personally, look, I respect the athleticism. I'm not going to knock them. I'd rather watch fucking paint dry than watch a soccer game. But you know what? Fuck it. USA... Come on. Let's get it done tonight. Let's cash some tickets. Let's take the spread tonight in this fucking World Cup game. And let's get this fucking thing done. And so look, here's the handicap. If you're wondering how I came up with this, I just told you. US is playing. It's our birthday week, birthday month, birthday year, whatever the fuck you want to call it. 4th of July is coming. Look. Got the flag flying. The only flag should be flying is the U.S. flag, by the way. Firing up some grills this week. We got fireworks being loaded in garages across the country. People losing the fucking arms, legs, fingers, digits, what have you, with firework mishaps, quarter stick, whatever the fuck you want to call it. Look, Team USA winning by at least 2 goals tonight. That's the fucking handicap. That's it. That's the analysis. That's the breakdown. That's the advanced metric. That's the model. That's everything. Team USA. Let's get it done. Now, listen. If this fucking thing cashes, I'm a soccer guy now. We'll be talking formations. We'll be talking expected goals, corner kicks, fucking yellow cards, on the whole fucking shebang. We'll run the gamut on fucking soccer tomorrow if this thing fucking cashes. I'll tell you that. Now, this thing fucking loses. No more soccer in this fucking program. Ever. Done. Finish. Finito. Retired. That's it. You'll never hear me mention fucking soccer on this program for the rest of my life. That's the fucking Pikkit. That's the fucking official Pikkit play of the day. Team USA spread the night. Look, let's start July with a bang. Celebrate America's 250th birthday the right way. Team USA gets a win. We cash a ticket. We continue to build the bankroll as we roll into football season here. I can't believe I'm taking fucking soccer as a Pikkit play of the day. Mookie Nash, rack this fucking tape here. Somebody rack this fucking tape. I don't even know what the fuck. I don't even know what the fuck they're playing. Where are they playing? I have no idea. Can somebody tell me in the chat where they're fucking playing? I have no fucking idea. I don't even know. I think are they playing, oh, Christ. Now I gotta fucking look. I know what the fuck they're playing. Let me pick it up. Is this game even in the U.S.? I have no idea. I'm just being festive and taking a World Cup game. Fuck. Fucking A. I don't even know. Wherever the fuck they're playing. Hold on. I know it starts in like a half hour. All right. USA World Cup. I'm pretty sure it's in the States. I don't think is it the Meadowlands, maybe? I have no idea. What the fuck is this game? Oh, it's in Santa Clara. It's at the 49er Stadium. It's at Levi Stadium. All right, see, it's even better. There's even more to the handicap, right? All right, so so here's the handicap. The handicap is America's 250th birthday. People are fucking lighting up grills, storing fireworks in their garage. You're going to lose some digits, some arms, some legs, lighting off quarter sticks. Flags are flying. Look, that's the handicap, and it's at Levi Stadium in San Francisco. That's the pick and play of the day. We're going to cash this fucking ticket, and I'm going to be a soccer handicapper tomorrow on the 100th episode. There's your Pikkit play of the day. We have completely gone off the rails here, no doubt, for sure. That's it. That's enough. Hey, that's enough. That is absolutely fucking... I can't even... I don't know what to say. It's fucking soccer. I'm picking soccer. Oh, God. Look, let's just start July the right way. Start cashing tickets. We did our bet against the Mets cashed earlier. We're good there. That's still alive for the rest of the season. We'll be profitable there. Look, 100th episode of Off the Hook tomorrow afternoon, probably same time, 4:30, 5 o'clock time range. Somewhere in there. Check out our YouTube page and X page at OTH Sports Pod. We will have the times posted there, but later afternoon time frame. Trying to cook up a lot of stuff there for you guys. Lots of good stuff coming from Off the Hook Sports. Merch, stickers, lots of good stuff. Football season's right around the corners. That's it. Mookie and Nash have been waiting for, oh my God, I don't remember, 2.5 fucking hours. Listen, if you're new here, welcome. We're on here 5 days a week now. If you're an OG riding with us, appreciate you. Love you. Lots of good stuff. And come along for the ride. Things are heating up here. So appreciate you guys sticking around. Good luck tonight. Listen, the books don't, they never give refunds. You got to do your homework, got to shop the lines. And look, never bet a number just because it's the first one you see. We are always powered by Pikkit. Go get that Pikkit app. Line shop. Track your friends, your bets, line movements, line shop, all in one place at your fingertips with Pikkit app. Go get it. Let's have fun with Pikkit. Big day tomorrow. Big day, big week this week for Off the Hook. 100th episode of Off the Hook Sports tomorrow. Pretty wild considering this thing started with an idea, microphone, a couple of people just willing to hit the fucking live button and see what happens. And thanks for all coming along with the ride. Thousands of more episodes. So join me, Mookie Nash, tomorrow afternoon. We'll celebrate the 100th episode here at Off the Hook, and we're going to continue to build this thing the right way. One show at a time, 5 days a week, no paywall, no paid picks, no VIP bullshit nonsense, just sports talk, betting insight, community of people trying to get a little better every day at OTH Sports Pod, X, and YouTube. Share the show with a friend. Every like, every comment, every share helps us continue to build this thing the right way. And more importantly, never stop looking for an edge. I'm Tommy Trends for my boys, Mookie and Nash. That's it. We'll see you tomorrow, episode 100. Until then, good luck, good night, enjoy the games. Team USA, let's go. Soccer handicappers now. This is Off the Hook, sports talk that pays off. See ya.